life is to some extent about persuading people to do what you want. And your parents, your spouse, your children, your partners, how do you persuade people to do what you want? Well, you do it by writing well, like Thomas Jefferson, perhaps, or you speak well, like Martin Luther King or Abraham Lincoln, or you lead by example, which is also a very good way to persuade people. George Washington staying at Valley Forge with his troops, even though he didn't have to. You lead by example. So I tell people to practice communicating. Try to avoid ethical mistakes because it can ruin your reputation forever, and you never get your reputation back. I also tell people to try to share the credit. Don't always take the credit for yourself, and also take the blame if something goes wrong. Be willing to take the blame for it and own up to it. Those are some of the things I think people should learn how to do. You have to learn how to get along with people. You have to learn how to pick up signals. People sometimes don't tell you directly exactly what they think, but they do it indirectly, and so you got to be good at picking up signals. Learning how to get along with people is a critical part of success in life, and that's true in the White House or any part of the government that you might be working in, because nobody in government is that powerful. They can't do anything by themselves. They need other people to do it, and that's true, of course, in the business world as well. But again, I think young people can't read too much. They can't practice speaking too much. They can't practice writing too much. I am amazed at how many people graduate from colleges that are very good, but when you ask them to write something, their writing skills are relatively limited.
It's because they've been writing too many tweets. They're used to using shorthand.
Yeah, so I wonder if William Shakespeare had lived in the era of tweets, would we have all the Shakespeare plays, or would he have been diverted by having to write tweets all the time and not actually finish those plays?
It's a fantastic question. Given that so many entrepreneurs and investors who are listening and watching this, they constantly are struggling with that focus and that prioritization. Are there things you've picked up over the years on how to be better at that?
Well, preparation is good. Jim Baker used to say that his father drilled in him, prior preparation prevents poor performance. And I do try to prepare for the interviews, or I'm giving a speech or whatever it might be, try to prepare and give respect to the people you're talking to. So that's an important lesson for me, is actually try to be prepared and know what you're doing. Read as much as you can to get prepared. I think that's important as well. But in the end, practice is very important. So I'm much better at giving a speech today than I was 25 years ago, because I practiced a lot and I now know how to do it better than I did. But I encourage younger people to try to practice giving speeches, practice doing interviews or being interviewed, practice writing, because in the end, these skills will come back to help you.
Are there certain things that you've done in your life to get better at that critical thinking process, or things that people can take away to become better?
Thinking is an important part of life, which sometimes gets lost in the urge to have an instant response to everything, or to have a tweet on everything. You know, sometimes sitting around with people, having a serious conversation, or actually thinking on yourself, read something, thinking about it is very helpful. And practicing out arguments that you try out on other people. When you're in your college dorm rooms, you're always arguing with people, it seems, in college dorms, and practicing how to think and to persuade people to do something, I think, is a useful skill. And I encourage people young people particularly, to learn how to make their arguments much more precise and clear about what they really believe in.
You mentioned towards the beginning of the conversation, there's a lot of people you know who are wealthy, but they're unhappy. And then there's a lot of people you know that are happy, but might not necessarily have money.